Losing your precious photos can be truly devastating. At the moment, here in Australia and all around the world, people are losing so much due to floods, fire, war, and so many other reasons. Losing your possessions is deeply traumatic. Of course, many people say they are only possessions, and yes, this is technically true. There are, of course, worse things to lose, such as livelihoods, pets, animals, family, and friends. However, the loss of your home and your possessions is a terrible and tragic occurrence with a great deal of stress and emotion involved. Of course, there is the physical aspect of having a safe place to be and having your basic needs covered, but there is also the stress and psychological issues of having lost everything you own. Most things can be replaced, which is hard enough, but photos sometimes cannot be replaced, and it can be incredibly distressing. Photos are a snapshot in time, a moment in our lives. But the picture of that moment says 1,000 words and can spark our memories. It can spark the memory of the day the photo was taken, who you were with, where you were, and so many other stories. Attached to the photo is the spark. How many times have you looked at a photo and smiled? A rush of emotions and memories flood you as you check out the small Polaroid photo. And losing these sparks, these moments in time to trigger our memories, is why photos are so important to us. Photos help us to remember what our childhood friend looked like. They help us to remember the time the cat fell asleep on the dog. Such small moments, but hugely important moments in the stories of our lives. For many people, photos cannot be replaced. They are a one-off. This is especially true before the advent of the digital age, where photos are electronically taken and stored. Many of our older family photos are in a physical format. They can be in boxes or old photo albums and can be bulky and cumbersome. Because many photos are a one-off and irreplaceable, the loss of our precious photos can really be a difficult loss to handle. On many occasions where photos are lost, it is because of a major event. This event could be tragic or stressful, and you may have many other things to work through, and the photos won't even be a thought of until a later date. This is very normal. But when they are thought about, the loss of your photo collection can have a deep impact. And if your photos were lost due to a tragic event, such as a flood or a fire, then this realization can be a last straw for many people. Such tragic events do have major impacts on our lives, and if you do need help, physically, financially, or emotionally, please reach out as help is available. It is okay and perfectly normal to feel a myriad of emotions at losing your photos. It is normal to feel angry, hurt, upset, and even sad. It is the memories attached to the photos, the fact that they may be irreplaceable, that affects so many people. Some people, especially those who are visually orientated, may feel like they have actually lost some of their memories, as it is the photos themselves that trigger the memory and the emotion of the events. Some people will even grieve the loss of their photos. Please remember that grief pertains to intense sorrow, and the loss of your photos can trigger this. Also remember that the loss of your photos rarely comes in an isolated incident. There is usually something else that is occurring, or has occurred, at the same time that brings about great stress and a change in your circumstances, such as a fire, flood, or a domestic violence incident. These issues accumulate, and the grief that you feel at the loss of your photos will be wrapped up in the grief of your particular circumstances as well. One of the first things to think about after you have processed your emotions and all the physical necessities in regards to your photographs is the possibilities of other copies being in existence. Would anybody else in your family or friends group have copies of the photos you lost? This is a possibility, even for the times of physical photos being processed. For example, I remember many photos being processed and having doubles of everything. Perhaps you could ask if there is anyone who may have photos of you, your family, or events that are important in your life. A friend might have a photo of you both. Your family may have taken photos at your 10th birthday party. They may even have photos that you did not have originally. Maybe the friend you went with on holiday had similar photos to you. You may be surprised how many copies of photos are out there once you ask. You may also be surprised that there are photos of the same events that you did not know even existed. Asking about photos from those you love is a great way to try and build up your photo collection again, if you are able. This may also lead to sharing the stories about those times and the memories the photos bring up. This is an added bonus of sharing the stories of your memories and seeing them from another person's perspective. Another suggestion is to ask if anyone else in your family has family history photos, either copies of the ones you had or different photos. Many families have copies, and some multiple copies, of family history photos and information. You may be surprised how many photos and memorabilia are out there. Some of you may not have known that some of them existed or ended up with people that you would never have thought to ask. For many people, history photos and memorabilia are now kept in electronic records and copies either on personal computers, the cloud, or on family history databases such as Ancestry.com. Keeping your family history photos and records electronically keeps them safe, well, to a certain degree, and they also will allow you to share the information and photos easily. Electronic storage is now the norm, especially for photos taken more recently. Do you have any of your photos stored electronically or have backups? If you did have photos stored electronically, this is only a savior to your photo collection if the storage is undamaged and able to be retrieved both physically and electronically. If, for example, your photos were backed up on a hard drive and the hard drive was also lost, then that is a loss for your photo collection. However, if your photos were saved to a hard drive that is salvageable or at a different location, then some of your photos may be retrievable. If your photos were saved online or to the cloud, then you have some photos that are still accessible for your precious memories. But how do you move on from losing your photo collection or part of your photo collection? Firstly, make sure you allow yourself to feel everything you do feel. Don't allow yourself or anyone else to tell you that you're being foolish or silly or emotional or being sad about the loss of your photo collection. Yes, you may have lost a great deal of physical items. Yes, you may feel blessed that you have been able to save some things. Yes, you may be truly blessed to have your family, friends, and loved ones. And yes, you may feel that some people may have it harder than you, but none of that means that you can't be sad or upset or angry about losing your photos. The second step in coming to terms with the loss of your photos is to see if there is anything salvageable, such as electronic copies or asking family and friends. If you are able to retrieve or gain some photos, that is great. If you are not, then it may make you feel awfully sad. But losing your photos can feel like losing your sparks of your memories. It is okay to grieve this. Coming to terms with such a loss is like a grieving process. Remember, you're probably also dealing with many different issues as well, both physical and emotional. So please be gentle with yourself and give yourself time. Acceptance may take some time. So what can you do from now on to try and keep your future photo collection as safe as you can? Remember, there is no 100% foolproof way to keep your photos safe. One of the main ways is electronically, especially off-site and on the cloud. There are many different sites out there that can help with this. Another way to do this is to make photo books with your precious photos printed in them. Then, as a physical book, it can be kept in a safe place to be picked up if the opportunity arises in such circumstances. But also remember that this is not a foolproof way of keeping our photos safe either. Having copies of these photo books and having them with a trusted friend or family is also a way of safeguarding your photos. Photos are super precious. They show a moment in time. They spark a memory, and that memory is within you. If you are having difficulties resulting from a recent disaster, such as flooding, fire, or a domestic violence issue where you had to leave all your possessions, please reach out for help. Assistance is always there. Thank you for reading and joining me, and blessed be to you all.